Hi, my name is Leon Versfeld. I'm a U.S. immigration attorney, and in this video, we're going to be talking about U.S. consular processings. Now, consular processing is typically divided up in two sections, either the immigrant section, which means this is where you're going to be applying for a green card, or the non-immigrant section. And we typically deal with the non-immigrant section. You may have already dealt with a U.S. immigration consulate yourself when you applied for a tourist visa. We, on the other end, typically deal with a consulate once a U.S. visa is approved in the United States and the employee needs to go to the U.S. consulate to get a visa sticker in his passport. The purpose of this video is to just kind of give you a little bit of a background of what happens in that process. The first thing anybody needs to complete when applying for a non-immigrant visa is to complete a form DS-160. This form is pretty easily able to find on the Department of State's website. Even if you Google DS-160, you should be able to file the form. This is the first step in applying for a non-immigrant visa. Completing this form is pretty simple and straightforward and should not necessarily need the help of an attorney. Once you've completed the form, have your attorney look it over if that's something you choose to do, or otherwise you can submit it and upload your photo, which will in turn take you to the next step, to applying for and making an appointment at the U.S. Consulate. If you have an approved application, there's a couple of things that you will need to take with you to the consulate, but we'll get to that here in 1 second. The next step that you will do once you've got your DS-160 confirmation page is that you will make an appointment at the consulate by completing the forms necessary in order to allocate an appointment time and also paying the appointment fee. These fees are typically paid for electronically over the internet or going to a specific bank that the consulate has designated to receive money from. Your receipt of payment and your confirmation of the DS-160 form is one of the two most important documents that you will need when you go to the consulate in addition to your passport. Once you have your appointment notice, you want to make sure that you go through that appointment notice to look over the documents required for you to take with you when you go to the interview. I also recommend that you make sure where the consulate is, how long it's going to take you to get to the consulate, and get to the consulate the day of the interview at least 30 minutes, if not longer, ahead of time. Make sure about their policy about cell phones and cameras, because most consulates do not allow you to take those in. In addition to these documents that the U.S. Consulate has outlined that you need to bring with you to the interview, we also recommend that you bring a copy of the approval notice of your non-immigrant visa that you got from your U.S. employer with you, along with perhaps a letter from your U.S. employer that supports your application at the consulate. Now remember, when your application was filed with USCIS by your employer, a copy of the complete packet should have been submitted to the consulate, so they know already ahead of time what to anticipate and what specific questions to ask you. The consulate's main job, is to make sure that you are admissible to the United States. What does that mean? That means that despite the fact that the U.S. government may have approved you for a visa, that you have not committed a crime, that you have not overstayed your visa before, because this is not part of the analysis when immigration approves your visa in the United States. In addition to that, they may look over the application and see if there may have been things that USCIS may have missed. And they would ask you about those at the consulate. So here's what you can expect the day of the interview. You can expect to go through security. Security is going to want to make sure that they know why you are there, so you want to make sure that you have your interview notice with you. They also want to verify that you are the person on that interview notice, so make sure you have your passport there, because nobody's going to give you a visa if you don't have your passport with you. As you go through security, they will direct you to someone who will check you in. Once you're checked in, you will wait in line to talk to an immigration officer. Most of these interviews are pretty short, and they just want to verify information that you've already provided them. One very important thing, and that is that you should always be truthful when you talk to an immigration officer and or consular officer. This is something that could haunt you if you are not truthful, even if you don't get caught today. Something that I sometimes get when I consult with clients is in asking them whether or not they've ever been arrested. And oftentimes the answer that I get is no, because the person on the other side of that question assumes that I'm asking whether or not they've been convicted and or if they've been in jail. Whereas the question really started off by whether or not they've been arrested. So now whether or not your conviction resulted in jail time, resulted in probation, or resulted into anything else, the question still remains, have you been arrested? And to answer that question truthfully. And I highly recommend that before you go to any U.S. consulate that you consult with a U.S. immigration attorney if you've ever been arrested, despite the fact that your conviction may have been expunged. This is extremely important because the consulate will be making an evaluation on that day. Despite the approval of your U.S. immigration petition filed by your U.S. employer, they will make a determination as to whether or not you are admissible to the United States. The U.S. Consulate could still instruct U.S. immigration to revoke your petition and deny your visa application at the consulate. It is the same as if you go to a football game and despite the fact that you have bought a ticket, the security guard may for whatever reason not allow you into the stadium. Now it's easy for me to sit here and say don't be nervous, but don't be nervous. You've got nothing to hide. Everything has already been provided to the consulate. They already have all the questions and answers that they need, and they are going to verify this information with you when you get to the consulate. So be confident in your answers. Make sure that you have studied the packet ahead of time. And do not, under no circumstances, lie to the consular officer. Even if you may not get caught now, it could be something that could haunt you for the rest of your immigration history in the United States. I highly recommend that you be truthful in all answers that you give to the U.S. consular officer. Once the officer has concluded his interview, he will hold on to your passport and indicate to you how long it will take for them to process the visa sticker in your passport and where that passport will be mailed to, or give you instructions on where to come and pick it up. I don't want you to miss anything, so make sure that you follow me on Twitter and SoundCloud, like my Facebook page, connect with me on LinkedIn, and more importantly, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video.